Good morning, children. Hope you are all doing good. Today we will continue with Act 2, Scene 1 of The Tempest from where we left in the last class. In the last class, we had seen that Alonso was very upset and all the attempts made by Francisco Gonzalo to make him feel better had failed, and he was feeling very sad, upset, and even Sebastian had very directly blamed him for his loss. So he was quite upset, and in turn, Gonzalo had rebuked Sebastian for not being sensitive to Alonso's present mental condition. Now, Gonzalo goes on to say, "It is foul weather in us all, good sir, when you are cloudy." Cloudy refers to gloomy, upset. So he says that they are all upset when Alonso is gloomy, or when Alonso feels gloomy, they all become sad. And Sebastian says, foul weather, very foul. So he says that yes, it is, upsetting for each one of them when Alonso is not happy. Now Gonzalo says, "Had I plantation on this isle, my lord." Now, children, plantation is referring to the act of colonizing. Now, in those times, establishing colonies was a very, very popular thing. And here we see, people have always dreamt about utopia, the golden age. In these ideal societies, men and women would live together in natural harmony without the need of any government or armies. So here Gonzalo is also dreaming of such a commonwealth. He says if he were to become the king of a commonwealth which would be established here. Now, after that, Sebastian is his usual cynical self when he says, "Escape being drunk for the want of wine." Now he says, yes, if Gonzalo was to establish a colony here, then the only good that will come out of it, or the only bad thing that will come out of it, will be that they would not get drunk because there would be no wine in this deserted island. But Gonzalo does not stop hearing these cynical remarks of Sebastian. He continues to convey his idea to Alonso. Probably he wants to make Alonso feel better, and also in a way try to show Alonso that it is not all that bad if they are alive and here on this island. We see Gonzalo's character here, children. How Gonzalo is an optimist, how he is trying to seek blessing or find blessing in whatever has happened to them. So here Gonzalo tells him that if he had established a commonwealth here, or if he established a colony here, and if he were the king of it. Now, this is an important question, children. Now, Gonzalo's idea of commonwealth, and what kind of a commonwealth would he like to establish? You will keep marking points. Every point you will mark. Every comma begins a new point. He says, "In the commonwealth, I would by contraries execute all things." Contrary means opposite. So here in his commonwealth, everything will work contrary or opposite of the present methods. In his commonwealth, he would try to, accomplish everything in a manner which is contrary to the established norms of the civilized society. For no kind of traffic, point 2, would I admit no name of magistrate, point 2, letters should be not known, 3, riches, poverty and use of service, none. Next point, contract, succession, bond of land, till, vineyard, none. No use of metal, corn or wine or oil, no occupation, all men idle, and all women too, but innocent, pure, no sovereignty. Now, no kind of traffic refers to no kind of trade. So there would be no trade, no commerce. He would not allow. Would I admit means he would not allow any kind of trade and commerce. There would be no magistrates, there would be no letters, means no education, no riches, no poverty, and there would be no cases of people serving another one. That is, there would be no one who would serve under anyone. Everyone would be independent. There would be no born, means no limits. No tilling of land will be there. There would be no contracts, that is, no agreements between people. There would be no succession, that is, law of succession. Like there are posts, and who would succeed after whom. So all that succession would not be there. There would be no use of metals. There would be no use of corn, wine, oil. No people will practice any occupation. And all men will be idle, and even women will be idle, doing nothing, but they will be pure, innocent souls. And then he says, no sovereignty, that is, there would be no kingship. Now, Sebastian taunts Gonzalo and says, yet he would be the king of it. Antonio says the later end of his commonwealth forgets the beginning. Now, why are they mocking at Gonzalo? Because if you see the speech of Gonzalo, the beginning of Gonzalo's speech of commonwealth, he says, were I the king of it. All right, that is, if he were to establish a commonwealth and if he were the king of this commonwealth. And then at the end of the speech, he's saying there would be no sovereignty. Now, when there would be no kingship, how would Gonzalo be the king of that island? So Sebastian mocks at him and he says that he would not permit sovereignty, he would not permit kingship, yet he would like to be the king of that commonwealth. And Antonio also mocks at him and says that his latter part of the speech forgets what he said in the beginning of his speech. But Gonzalo is not affected by whatever Antonio and Sebastian say. He continues his speech of Commonwealth. So if you get a question on Commonwealth, this speech will also be included in your answer. Both the speeches of Gonzalo should form the answer of Commonwealth. All things in common nature should produce, without sweat or endeavor. Now, since he had said in the previous part of the speech that men, women would be idle, but innocent and pure. So when they would not work, how would they eat? Right? Because we labor, we work, and thus we earn our living. But if Gonzalo had said that men and women would be idle, but innocent and pure, so if they don't work, how will they survive? What will they eat? So here he answers that question and he says that everything will be provided commonly by nature. Nature will provide ample amount of everything for people to sustain them. So nature will provide everything that a man requires for his sustenance without having to work for it, without having to exert himself, without having to sweat for it, without having to produce it. And then he goes on to say, nature should produce without sweat or endeavor, that is, without any labor, without any effort. Treason, felony, sword, pike, knife, gun, or need of any engine would I not have. That is, there would be nothing like treachery. All these things will be unheard of. Now, all these things that are very common in a civilized society, you keep hearing of these instances every day, like treachery, like crime, use of swords, spears, knives, and other weapons. He would not have any of these things in his commonwealth. So that is the utopian vision that he has, that there would be no treachery, no betrayal, no crime, there would be no use of weapons like swords, spears, knife, and other weapons. He would not permit the use of that. But nature should bring forth of its own kind all fish on, all abundance, and feed my innocent people. Now he says that nature, so how will the man survive? Nature will bring forth everything in plentiful measures. Right? Nature will bring everything in plentiful measures in abundance to feed his innocent people. The nature will grow everything in abundance, and all the needs of men and women will be taken care of. So again, Sebastian is mocking at him and saying, no marrying among his subjects, none men, all idle. Now, Sebastian says that when there will be no succession, then why will people marry? There would be no marrying among his subject. He says, no, there will be no marrying because all men will be idle. Again, Gonzalo doesn't pay attention to that. Their stupid, foolish speeches. He continues, I would with such perfection govern, sir, to excel the golden age. Now, he says that he will govern, he will rule his country, his commonwealth with such excellence that it will surpass the golden age, which is only mentioned in fables. We only dream of that utopian world, and it is only mentioned in fables. We've never had it. But like we in Hindus, we have this concept of Ramraj. All right. Now that is one vision that we think of where everything will be equal, and all those desirable things, like you have read about Desiderata. All right. Now that poem Desiderata is what? All things desirable. Now whether those things happen or not, you just wished they happened. All right. So like you have this vision of Desiderata, all the things that you wish would happen, all the things desired. So similarly is this vision of utopia, like you have Ramraj, where you think of all things that should be there, that would be good if they were there, but then that thing is not happening. You only have those utopian world in that fables. So he says that he will govern with such perfection that his rule will surpass even the golden age. Save his majesty, long live Gonzalo. So they start mocking at Gonzalo, saying, long live the king, because he plans to be the king of that commonwealth if he were to establish it here in the island. Pray thee no more, thou dost talk nothing to me. Now Alonso says that he just should stop talking. Gonzalo should stop talking because his talk means nothing to him. It is utterly rubbish to him. He is not paying any attention to what Gonzalo is saying.